right, it is Thursday, everyone. I'm Andrew Dow. Time for our Happening in the Hamptons podcast, our weekly breakdown of the Hamptons market, new listings, and events on the East End. We are sponsored by New York Title Abstract, the Hamptons' leading title insurance firm. Visit NewYorkTitle.com. Mr. Steve Glick is not with us today, but we do have Dave Retainer, and today, Mr. John Healey. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm good.
Return guest. Look, we're in the summer. This is the time, man, you know? So what are we talking about today? You've been busy with, kind of everything. You got an amazing opportunity we'll get to in Southampton, but where should we start? What's going on?
Well, today's the first day of the U.S. Open officially.
Oh,
Yes.
my God.
Which
The traffic is brutal.
There is traffic.
You know what? It's been amazing to watch the whole process for the last 6 to 8 months. From repaving the road from the highway all the way through Southampton. It's like the infrastructure shit's gone in. Now the roads are closed. The cops are out there. The people are coming. The fans are there. Everything's set up. It's insane. They built a city in 6 months.
But also, if you think about it, whether you live here year round or not, the traffic,
It's always been bad.
well, they decided to repave, and that had nothing to do with the U.S. Open.
Right.
Oh, really?
No.
I just thought that they wanted it to look
that
really
was
good
just-
going in. Okay,
I
fine.
think it was, again, you look at budgets per year for highway,
yeah.
state. They got it. It was budgeted, so they put it in there. Then we have the bridge issue at the canal.
Yeah.
That was unexpected. That had to be repaired, and that's still being repaired right now with that. So there's closings and one-laners, and it's almost like we, for a year and
It's
a
like
half,
the
have gotten
perfect
no
storm.
break in anything. And that 1 minute you're like, oh, good, no construction. There's cones coming up. And then they decide to reroute
Yeah.
County Road 39 for traffic last year. Remember, after their big study,
Yeah.
and throw cones everywhere, and guys are closing down lanes and stuff. We just, considering we have 2 ways in and 2 ways out, we get no break.
Then there's they're putting sidewalks and stuff up in outside Sag Harbor up by Long Beach.
Yes.
And it's and they're repaving all those roads and right now, in summer.
But the big thing with the U.S. Open, a lot of people were saying, oh, the rentals are going to go crazy with the U.S. Open. It was all about how it's going to bring so much business into the economy. A couple of real estate agents were excited. How has it affected business in your opinion?
I don't think it was as big a. It was hyped up bigger than it really came to fruition. I think a lot of people stay with friends. Think about how many people bought houses during COVID.
Right.
So a lot of people, even if they rent their house out and it's more of a rental investment, they didn't rent it this time if they had friends that wanted to come out to see the Open.
Right.
And I think a lot of what happened too is people rented early. If you're part of the USGA or any of the media,
you're planning that a year
in advance.
Yeah.
So a year ago, they're like, "Hey, we need to house all the TV guys." Or
So the
whatever.
demand was baked in.
That was all baked in for sure. And the players, they're more flexible because they don't even know if they're going to be making the cut, if they're going to play, if they're hurt, if they're not hurt. So they were the ones that were probably a little bit more last minute. But a lot of them, like Spieth, he's got his own motorhome out here.
Who's Spieth?
The player,
the golf player,
yeah, golf. And
Sorry.
and
Dave's a big golf guy.
I saw his motorhome, so whether he's staying on it or what. I think they have enough connections to where. Think about this: if you know a member of Shinnecock or Atlantic or any of the private courses, and you said, would you mind housing? Any of the players, you're probably going to say, sure, love to.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as big a bum rush, I think. And because you can come out by train, bus, shuttle, all that, you didn't have to necessarily rent a place. So I think that was a little overhyped. But as I was saying earlier today, I did, Jack and I as a team, we did get a player. There were a couple of amateur players that got last-minute nods all last week, and they suddenly did need a place. Yeah. And so we were able to find them a couple places, and it's kind of fun. They're the super young guys, and definitely people we would follow because we feel like a little bit of a relationship with them by helping them find a place. So it's interesting how rentals did come up. But, you know how it is, too. If you tell everyone, rent your house, it's going to be the Shinnecock Open or the U.S. Open, and it's local, everyone wants a piece of the pie.
Right.
Sure.
And your house might not even really qualify to be a piece of the pie. So we just got a lot of inventory that jumped on the market for that reason. I think the take on that is if you wanted to take the investment and make the money, maybe you want to sell your house.
Yeah.
So maybe those are the people you want to reach out and say, you know what? Maybe you should just put it on the market and see what's going on. The market's been great.
Yeah.
We haven't had a reduction in prices that I noticed that we thought we might be coming to because of the interest rate hike, and the situation in Iran and oil prices and basically inflation, which would a lot of times bring the pricing down. I think it's been pretty steady and
the demand is still here,
which is amazing that the Hamptons is resilient enough to still have demand at a high price.
It's funny that you said, it still blows you away, even if you've lived here and grown up here and your parents are from here. Like I was driving with Steve through Watermill the other day, and Steve's been working here for forever. And he goes, look at how beautiful this is. And I was like, can you believe it? Look how nice this is. And I was like, yeah, it's the Hamptons. I was like, it's unbelievable, And even I still think that, And I always say, I bring this up all the time. Like whenever I leave, I notice it dramatically when I come back, for a little bit of time.
30 years. And I will tell you, I don't know of a better real estate investment location, long, medium, and short term, but mostly long-term for sure, obviously.
Right, of course.
But, you've got some other places that are developments and stuff in other parts of the world that are great for short and medium term and long. But the consistency of the Hamptons is proven.
Yeah.
Really is proven, at least in my career. And I would say that, I always say I wish I knew and had the wherewithal to buy more and more houses back in the day. But 10 years from now, I could say that I probably should have bought more today.
You know what I always notice about you, John, is you have repeat customers. It seems like every client of yours is this dear friend of yours, and how do you get referrals, and how do you bring stuff in, with networking? Do you go out? Do you socialize with people? Like, it just seems like you're a man about town. If I need to know something,
I don't make it to all the galas and all of these summer events. That's not my thing. But I will say,
but it just seems like you know everyone.
Well, obviously, as staying in the community with the fire department and stuff like that becomes a real deep, entrenching community, and that's been a long time. But I will say, I've been fortunate enough that customers are willing to stick with me, and we stay in touch. That's really important, communication.
Follow-up.
So we stay in touch, whether it's how the kids doing, they've moved on to college or whatever, and just constantly, at least 3-4 times a year, I try and touch base with everybody.
Yeah.
And some of them say, hey, we've moved on, now we live in Florida, we're never coming back, whatever. But I think that I will say, back in the day, doing rentals, where, we've talked about this before, where some people are like, oh, I hate to have to do rentals. I've always been a firm believer. You do rentals, you stick with those people, they become buyers. That's the way it works.
Sure.
And I could say that probably 75% of the people, that does work that way.
Right.
I have a few people that still rent, 25 years later.
Right.
But that's because they do 1 month. It works for them. They're elsewhere in the world all the time, so it doesn't make sense to have an empty house.
Right, something to worry about.
Yeah, and they get to pick something different each time, and if they want to, and so that's their program, and the program works for them.
For some, I used to think that people that rented long term, like 10, 20 years, I'm like, why wouldn't you just buy? And the reality, and there is some thought to that, right? It's like, if you're coming out here every year for a month, why wouldn't you just buy? But the reality is, there is something really nice about coming out to a rental that you enjoy and then you're just done with.
It's an experience. You get that 1 month experience is what you're looking for.
Right.
And we all talk about, in the last 3 or 4 years, how experience in marketing, people want the experience more so than anything else. Younger generations want the experience. That's what they're looking for.
People are paying for experiences now more than anything else.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a direct reflection of that, but I know that, there's people that will rent here for a month. They'll rent in Nantucket for a month. And they don't feel bad about closing the door, locking it up, and knowing it's not theirs. You know, there's less liability for the other 11 months. So, that makes some sense. I think for other people,
but there's nothing like owning.
They want to go to their own home.
Yeah, there's nothing
they want
like
to stay in their own
owning.
bed and stuff, and that makes sense too.
I would also say that the Hamptons is one of those, and maybe this is why it always seemed a little silly to me, because this market is like such a buy now, hold, sell later, enjoy. Like we've always said it's like the asset you can live in. You know what I mean? And so it's like, well, if you're going to rent long term, why wouldn't you just buy and then make money down the line? But the reality is you don't always have to do that. But the Hamptons market is unique, I think, unto itself, because it is something that can be an asset if you choose an asset.
I think you can objectively say that it's unique. I really think you can objectively.
I think it's
that.
unique because that's why.
Like as a fact,
it doesn't matter what the economy's
opinion.
doing. In the last 10 years, this place has been crowded in the summer.
Yeah.
So the economy can be horrendous. And listen, you can always go back to say 2008 as an example. But in 2009, our summer was busy. They weren't at the big buying, pick up something cheap yet, but there were people renting.
Yep.
And so they were here because they want to be here for the beaches, for the social, for the food, and the experience, like you said. And we've got a bay to be boating in. We've got an ocean to be swimming in or playing in or whatever. It is a really special place, especially July and August, obviously. And I think September myself. But it is interesting. Someone asked me the other day, did you get in on any of the SpaceX IPO? And I said,
I bought some.
I bought
some. Probably a bad idea.
No, I don't think so. But I did say to them, I'm planning on reaping on the benefits of the SpaceX IPO for the next probably 5 years. Because if it can make an economy adjust for the positive, it's going to trickle down to
they want to
all
buy a house
other
in the
investments,
Hamptons.
real estate,
I know.
you
It's so
name
funny.
it. They made the comments, I guess some of the, the staff that was janitorial staff or whatever, I don't know what the correct term is, are millionaires. But
like the guys that work in the
people
cafeteria.
that bought the stock that are going to end up selling some of it and reap that benefit? If wealth makes more wealth, which it does, it doesn't hurt our business out here.
Right.
So I'm here with open arms to say, maybe you want to transfer some of that wealth into a piece of real estate here, which could make you more wealth down the road.
That's what it is. I want to get to, are you doing the numbers? Am I doing the numbers?
Yeah, well, let's talk about your house. You have this house. I want to talk about 220 Elm Street.
Yeah, Jack and I have 220 Elm Street. It's the villages, all of the villages have become very expensive, very popular. Sag Harbor, East Hampton, Southampton, even Montauk. And especially when you're in the village where you can walk to everything. So this is one of those places where really everything is kind of sold in the last 4 to 6 months. And this is an opportunity for someone to go in there. My suggestion is a gut renovation of it. I wouldn't tear it down because it's got a great classic village, Southampton Village look.
Yeah, it does look cool.
And it's a nice piece of property on the corner. And I just think it's a matter of someone having the patience to go in there and do the right thing and bring it back. It's got, all the rooms are large in terms of square footage for each room. It's got the bones. It's got everything that's needed. It just needs a real good cleanup and a gut renovation, in my opinion, to make it right. And we had a trade recently on Elm where the ask was, I believe, 9.7.
Yeah, this is 220 Elm Street.
This is unbelievable.
In Southampton.
I lived over there in my 20s. I lived off of Layton Avenue.
Even if I don't know the trade number, but even if it traded around 9 and you buy something like this around, in the 2s, the upside is there.
It's huge.
You want to talk about something in 10 years you'll be happy you got.
It's such a special spot.
5 years.
$2
Sure.
Well, if you go over there and just kind of absorb the area, it is such a special area.
Listen, you can take the train and walk basically 2 blocks down to your house.
Or dip right into Southampton Village. There's so much cool stuff going on in Southampton Village. And it's like a really safe, community-oriented area. It's great. It's a great spot.
I think obviously that's why it's popular.
There, 20 years ago.
That's why it's popular now in the village too. It's just that I think people like that convenience.
Yeah.
And then obviously you've now got a village residence. You got a village pass, and now you go to the village
Cooper's
beaches,
Beach.
and you're all set.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing place to live. I'm actually, we live in Southampton. I was thinking about picking up the village pass because you can get it for like $200.
Right.
And but Cooper's Beach is just like unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Anyway, so you want to do the numbers?
I can. You can.
Oh yeah, here you go.
Should we do it?
All right, the numbers.
It's on me. This is a cold read now. First time seeing it. All right. The Hamptons, the real estate market data for the week of 6/9/2026. Over the past week, there were 32 listings that went into contract from West Hampton to Montauk compared to the same week last year. There were 28 listings that went into contract, which is a year-over-year increase of 14%. The same week in 2024, there were 27 listings that went into contract compared to this past week, there was an increase of 19%. The breakdown of those 32 transactions, 1 over 20 million, 1 between 10 and 15, 6 between 5 and 10, 11 between 3 and 5, 6 between 2 and 3, 4 between 1 and 2 million, and 3 under $1 million, so they're still out there. Over the past week, the dollar volume was $126 million compared to the same week last year in 2025. The dollar volume was $98 million, which is a year-over-year increase of 65%. The same week in 2024, the dollar volume was $92 million. Compared to this past week, there was an increase of 76%. This past week, there were 35 new listings coming onto the market, which with 32 listings going into contract, inventory increased by 3 listings. The breakdown of those 35 new listings, 1 over 20 million, 1 between 10 and 15, 5 between 5 and 10 million, 6 between 3 and 5, 8 between 2 and 3, 12 between 1 and 2 million, and 2 under $1 million. The overall inventory as of 6/16/26, 1,728 total listings active and in contract, 1,370 active listings, 358 in contract. So there you go. You were saying that this has been busy, still still active, which we're seeing. What do you think the rest of the summer will look like? Because everybody always says, we get into August, people are out here, they're enjoying their houses, it slows down, which seems to be the case. But do you think July continues to be an active month?
I do. What's interesting on those numbers on the last 2 weeks, you mentioned 6 between 3 and 5 a week ago, and then 11 between 3 and 5 million last week. Correct?
The breakdown. So let's see.
Just look at the 3 to 5 million.
Yeah, 3 to 5 new listings coming on. 6 between 3 and 5 million. Those are the 3 new listings.
Right.
And then,
what was the trades though? You in contract?
The same week. That was 11 between 3 and 5.
So 6 and then 11, and between 3 and 5. That's really our threshold for new construction. Pretty hard to find new construction under 3 anywhere, right? And there's a lot of new construction between 4 and 5 or 5.5, whatever. So it's interesting. That tells me, I think, that a lot of the buyers are looking new construction without even looking at what those listings were.
Right.
I'm guessing between 17 listings in 2 weeks in that price range. I'll bet half of them are new construction.
Yeah.
And so that's the direction that everyone's going in. I don't think people really want to take the patience and time to take so long to get permits, to be honest with you, unless it's a dynamite spot. And that brings me to the fact that we all know, both towns, it's been a battle in the building departments in trying to get a C of O. Yeah. Anything has taken 3-4 times longer than it used to take. And that's got to change, because that's hurting valuation. It's hurting the buy side. That's why someone says, I'll buy a new house. Give me a new construction before I have to do work.
These builders are not cheaping out. I mean, these builders are like doing good business. Like, these houses are stunningly beautiful, And when when a builder puts in all that time, all that work, gets the architect, all that thought, and all they're trying to do is sell it to somebody to make their life like totally easier. They make a little bit of a profit, but it's not like, they're not making like 100% profit. They make a little bit of a profit. It's a lot of money, but
getting to your question, Andrew, I do think that you'll see consistency. Summer for us there's always a point sometime in the summer where it's a little quiet. People are, they're settling in.
Because they're having too much fun.
It seems like it's right after July 4th where people are like, all right, I'm here for my summer. I'm going to relax. Yeah. Unless you get rainy days where they say, hey, let's go look at houses. It's tough to get them off the boat, out of the beach, whatever, out of the water.
I get that.
To go and do that. And I get it too. And I've always said that, you have to, with experience, you have to be able to filter through people that say, hey, it's a cloudy day. We're guests staying here. Let's go look at houses, whether they're tire kicking or they actually really have interest. Because you can really run yourself ragged through all this traffic to try and show houses. And you want to try and make sure it's a legitimate showing.
Yeah.
It's not easy in the middle of the summer. You still have to be available to do that, but there's always a little bit of a slower pace. And then as you get into second week of August, third week of August, people start to ramp up and say, okay, if they don't have kids to worry about going to college and getting them shipped off and so on, or whatever, boarding school, they're probably ready to look because they're here. Mm-hmm. And then obviously we've always said the serious people come back in September and they spend a weekend somewhere in a hotel or whatever, or an inn, and they get really serious about it. But the key is you have to be available in the summer as much as you want to go to the beach and not be available. You have to be, because people are here. And you have to show. And that's when you meet the new customers as well.
Yep.
As in the summertime.
Yep. What do you got going on this weekend? Obviously the Open.
Yeah, we talked about the U.S. Open. So when does that end? That ends on Sunday, right?
And you're going. You're going?
I'm going. I'm going.
Yeah,
I don't know when I'm going, but I'm going. I've got to pass because thank you for the fire department.
Are you working it?
I did already.
Yeah.
I did a standby for a full day on Monday, and the USGA was generous enough to give us a pass that covers every day. Yeah. So can kind of come and go, which is nice based on who I want to see play or what I'm doing that day.
It was described to me as it's kind of like the Hampton Classic, but for golf. It's just like you get there and you walk around and you're just like, wow. And then you buy the shirt or whatever. And it's like, you just kind of check it all out, Well,
it's in your hometown, so you kind of have to make somewhat of an effort if you can to go.
Yeah, you got to check it out.
Whether you're a golfer or not, it's an experience. Again, we get back to that. And it's an experience in your hometown.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as there's traffic and it's a pain, you got options to go over a 5, 6 day, 7 day period. So you might as well pick one and do an afternoon or a morning or something.
And if you've never been to a golf tournament, like a professional golf tournament, it's unique. So.
Well, when we were there Monday, there were people chasing some of the early golfers there to get autographs.
Right.
Which I thought it reminded me of being like at a concert or something. There are seriously people that love players and obviously want to follow them and get autographs, and they'll run for it.
Oh, when I worked in NASCAR, I mean, that was every weekend. These guys following drivers around, and it was like, they brought tons of stuff to sign, die-cast cars and hats and T-shirts and whatever else.
John, I know this weekend is like built for you, man. This is so funny. So you got the golf for John Healey. Then we also have, I know you're a big reggae fan, at the Stephen Talk House on June 21st from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's a great reggae band. Black Uhuru has remained one of the most popular, recognized, prolific reggae bands, and they're direct from Jamaica.
They were like Steel Pulse, and they have albums out that I've got. I mean, they're great.
So they're the real deal. So maybe
same era as Bob Marley and everything. So they've been around a long time. So
you might want to check them out. And then Father's Day is this weekend, guys. We're all dads.
Oh yeah.
So I picked this one out that the Hampton Maid. They have a Father's Day dinner at Rare. You know where the Hampton Maid is? Obviously,
great food.
But I hear Rare is unbelievable food.
Yeah.
So go early.
Yes.
Because the traffic, it'll take you an hour and a half to get there sometimes because you're going with the trade traffic. So we've gone there. If you're coming from where you are, coming from the west, it's great. No traffic at all.
Right.
But if you're coming from here, you got to leave like an hour early before your reservation.
Yeah, that's true.
It takes me, so I live in Hampton Bays. Today it took me 35 minutes to get across the canal from my house. It's maybe 2 miles, 2.5 miles.
It's just part of the charm, It's all part of the charm. And then in Montauk, you have at the Surf Lodge, of course, 4 p.m., June 21st. David Shaw of the Revivalists will be spinning at the Surf Lodge.
I think that's a younger crowd.
You gotta go.
But that's like the place in Montauk, right?
Oh yeah.
I think I was there maybe once.
I'm like in the middle of a midlife crisis. I gotta get there.
That's fine.
We gotta check it out.
Some people, everybody
just
does
ball out at the Surf Lodge one summer.
Where's Nancy Atlas playing? She's got to be playing somewhere in Montauk.
I think she does it at the Surf Lodge too.
Yeah,
but it's like
and the Montauk, I think it's pretty regular. Montauk and Surf Lodge.
Yeah, she's the best.
Still rocking.
So that's pretty good. That sounds like a good weekend.
It does sound like a good weekend. All right.
And then look forward to the 4th of July parade.
Yeah.
It's around the corner. First is the North Sea Carnival, though. That's starting up in 2 weeks.
Yep.
And that'll be great. And we have
like the fire
fireworks on
department circuit,
2 of the days. We have fireworks.
Yeah.
Fireworks are actually, I think, the 2nd and the 4th, I believe. And then you roll right into the parade that same weekend for Southampton.
That's it. That's going to be a big one this year.
And that's when summer starts to slide.
Yeah.
After the 4th of July, the slide to the fall.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
Nah, that's fine. There's plenty of time.
I'm enjoying 9 p.m. sunsets.
It's January, February, March. It's just brutal.
Yeah.
You know?
Only 3 months.
3
You
months.
don't have to worry about it now.
You know? All right.
That's good.
Yeah,
good stuff.
That's it.
John, thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. That's great.
Enjoy the weekend.
Your summer.
Enjoy the summer. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Enjoy the weekend. Swing by the U.S. Open if you're a golfer or even if you're not. Until then, until next Thursday, I'm Andrew Dowd. That is what's happening in the Hamptons.